What is up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Happy Waiver Wire Week 5. Here we go. We're going to hang out for a little bit tonight and get you guys everything that you need to get you ready for your waivers. We'll do start sits tomorrow night, so let's try and stay on topic with the waiver wire stuff. I'm going to just cover over my news and notes, and then I'll get into individual questions in a few minutes, so just bear with me here. You guys can check out the fantasyfellowship.com. That's where I have all of this for members tab. So I'm showing you guys what you guys can access as a member. Injuries to monitor. We got a lot. We got Lamar Jackson out possibly 2 to 3 games. We're going to talk Cooper Rush later for quarterbacks. But this hamstring injury really stinks. I mean, the Ravens are 1-3. This is not good. And our fantasy teams are going to have to look for a new QB for the next 2 to 3 games, maybe a fourth game, but we'll see. Lamar Jackson not going to be playing week 5 at home against the Texans. Jaden Daniels, I'm expecting to play in week 5, so hopefully we get some good practice reports tomorrow. The Vikings are saying J.J. McCarthy could practice this week, which is a good sign. We want him to start getting back going into the swing of things so that he can be ready for week 7. The big one, Bucky Irving, and I see David Phillips. I see your question in there. We're going to answer that shortly. But the Bucky Irving MRI in the ankle is a major concern for me. I did some digging, and the video that I found is very concerning for Bucky Irving. So you can see, here, I'm gonna full screen it here, but you can kind of see his plant leg is right here. And as I kind of just slide through here, you're going to see this ankle really start to fold on itself. You can see it starting, his leg starting to bow. But as I just get progressively through the video, you can see that ankle continues to just get twisted up on. And to me, this looks like a high ankle sprain mechanism. And it just kind of just keeps getting worse. I mean, at that point, all of that ankle is going the wrong way, and hard contact on the hit too. But that ankle and that leg, not supposed to be going that way. So I'm expecting a high ankle sprain for Bucky Irving, which for a running back, for a receiver, like these are bad injuries. So I'm thinking it might be 2 to 4 games missed for Bucky Irving, probably on the longer end. So Rachaad White would be a waiver wire priority for me tonight, if possible. So Bucky Irving, hopefully we get some news tomorrow morning on him. Jalen Warren, they're on bye week 5. I think he'll be back for week 6. Aaron Jones still on track for week 8. Tyrone Tracy, we're not expecting him to play with that shoulder this week, so maybe next week we'll see him practice. Braylon Allen did suffer a knee injury. It sounds like he's heading to IR, so big win for Breece Hall. We'll talk about Isaiah Davis on the waiver wire. Tajay Spears is eligible to return this week. I haven't seen anything on that. He's worth the ad, I guess, but the Titans offense is just so bad, and they've been reliant to give Tony Pollard a ton of touches. We're going to watch Miles Sanders and that ankle injury. That's a good boost for Javonte Williams. And maybe we get to see Jaden Blue finally. And then we get to the bad ones. The 2 season-ending knee injuries for Malik Neighbors and Tyreek Hill. Both of them were very similar. Like both guys were up in the air and their legs were just hanging the wrong way. It sucks. We're going to see Malik Neighbors back next year. I'm probably not going to draft a lot of Malik Neighbors in 2026 just with the knee injury. And then Tyreek Hill, same thing. I'm not drafting these guys next year. And Tyreek at his delicate age, this could be a career-ending injury. He's going to try and come back next year, but he's not going to be on my fantasy team. So unfortunately, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton get the bump here for the Giants. Jalen Waddle, Darren Waller, and Malik Washington get the bump for the Dolphins. CeeDee Lamb, we'll see if he can get a practice session in this week and be on track. I don't think he's going to play in week 5, but maybe week 6 we have a chance. Same thing with Mike Evans and the hamstring. We'll see if he can get a practice in this week, but I'm expecting him to be doubtful. Terry McLaurin, they're kind of expressing some optimism. We'll see about that. The 49ers are really banged up right now. Ricky Pearsall, I think Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, and Brock Purdy all did not practice today, which to me is like we might see the 49ers preseason squad out there on Thursday night against the Rams. So we have a lot of doubt on the 49ers skill players. Darnell Mooney with the hamstring. We'll watch for that tomorrow. Cedric Tillman, I believe they put on IR, so I need to update this note. We did see Isaiah Bond step into the number 2 receiver roles. No timetable for return yet on Brandon Ayuk. Xavier Legette shouldn't really be on fantasy rosters. He's got a hamstring. He's not playing this week, I think. And then Marvin Mims, he played through a hip injury last night, and he looked good doing it. He could be a guy that gathers some interest here in games where the Broncos are favored to win. Calvin Austin with that shoulder in Ireland. We'll see about his participation tomorrow. I'm excited to see Jalen Coker return for the Panthers. I don't know if he's going to, like, I don't think he's going to play week 5. I think week 6 is possible, but I do want to add him if he's available. Diami Brown missed last week. He's going to be on track to play probably in week 5. Christian Watson, they're saying they're probably going to activate him next week after the bye, which we're not playing Christian Watson, but he might be worth stashing on your bench. Alec Pierce, I expect him to play after a concussion. And then tight ends, we're still on track for Kittle week 6. Loveland with the hip injury, Fant with the concussion, Will Dissly with the knee injury. We'll monitor those guys. But if you need a quarterback this week, I think Jackson Dart, if your quarterback 1 is, say, Kyler Murray or even Bo Nix or Jordan Love or whatever, I think you can add Jackson Dart as your QB2 because he's going to continue to supply rushing volume. They didn't really ask him to throw the ball a ton, but he did well in certain situations. So Dart has that rushing upside that we like as a QB1. And then Sam Darnold, like the Seahawks just look so good against Tampa Bay at home. I think Darnold's interesting. And then I got to push Flacco down, but Cooper Rush should be added in Superflex leagues. And then I got to move Dylan Gabriel up, who will be starting for the Cleveland Browns this week. I think Tyler Shuck will be another guy to potentially add this week in case he ends up starting week 6. So some quarterbacks to monitor there. If you need a running back this week, Kenneth Gainwell can be added. Woody Marks is obviously the big name here. If you guys play in a league where Woody Marks is available, like he is the priority. We've been talking about him for pretty much the first, 4 games here. He's been getting more and more work, and he should be owned in a more competitive league. He's probably gone. But if he somehow is available, he is the number 1 pickup this week. He hopped Nick Chubb in terms of snaps. He was already getting more routes, but the touches finally came. He gets the 2 touchdowns. The Texans kind of breathe a sigh of relief as they get their first win of the year. Woody Marks is the priority. But with this Bucky Irving mystery, if Rashad White's available, I want Rashad White on my team starting tomorrow. Kareem Hunt might have hopped Pacheco as the RB1. I still think Tootin's a handcuff priority. Algiers a handcuff priority. Justice Hill has PPR upside. And then Kendre Miller, man, he really looked good against the Buffalo Bills. He might be a guy that continues to get more work. If Kamara gets hurt or if he gets traded, we're looking at Kendre Miller as the lead back. Amari DiMercado is the pass catching down back for the Cardinals, and Isaiah Davis with Braylon Allen out. You guys can check out the list of handcuffs on the website. Keep a note, just Sean Tucker might be a guy that gets some run if Bucky Irving is out. If you need a wide receiver this week, Wan'Dale Robinson would be at the top of my list. Romeo Doubs would be number 1 at the top of my list. And if someone dumps Troy Franklin, go pick up Troy Franklin, Jalen Coker, Slayton, Malik Washington, some of those guys I'd mentioned earlier. I do have a list of deep stashes here at receiver if you need them. If you need a tight end this week, I just wanted to note Kyle Pitts should have been rostered. If not, he is well worth a pickup and a hold over the bye week. Brenton Strange looks really good. He continues to just be a high efficiency guy for Trevor Lawrence, catching 4, 5, 6 passes per game right now. I think Darren Waller is also a tight end that just with the absence of Tyreek Hill now, like they're going to need him to step up and catch 3, 4, 5 passes per game. So Waller and Strange would be the tight ends. If you guys need a deeper format tight end, Gadsden, Theo Johnson, Elijah Arroyo, those guys interested me. And then last but not least, if you guys need a defense this week, like these defenses are widely owned at the top. But if you need one that should be out there, the Cardinals against the Titans, the Chiefs at Jacksonville, and the Giants at New Orleans. So there you have it. There is the waiver wire report for you guys. And good evening, everybody. David, good evening. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. We got a Bucky Irving owner. My only 2 running backs are Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. We got Hill, Miller, Gainwell, and DiMercado available on the waiver wire. I don't know, what other position players you have to drop, but I do think if we do end up losing Bucky Irving for a game or 2 or 3, we're going to need to make some moves here. I think Justice Hill, he's a PPR back. He's a guy that's going to catch 1 to 2, 3 passes per game. He's not going to get a lot of carries. He only got carries last week because the game was out of hand. So I'm not going to read too much into that. He did catch a touchdown though from Lamar Jackson. So for me, I'm not too interested in the gimmicks of Justice Hill. I would rather have Kendre Miller. I would rather have Kenneth Gainwell, which Gainwell's on bye this week, so he might not be the guy for you. But DiMercado is interesting. So I did see Trey Benson was like kind of penciled as did not practice today, and it's Monday or Tuesday. We're going to get a better report tomorrow, but I'm going to keep an eye on Trey Benson's report because I did see that they signed Michael Carter to be up on the roster. So there's some stuff happening in Arizona where if Trey Benson's out, I think DeMercado would stay in his third down pass catching role, and then Michael Carter might actually be the guy worth adding as the primary runner. So that one we're gonna have to keep an eye on. The best option I think for you is probably Kendre Miller, who's continuing to get 5 to 10 touches the last couple games. That's probably who I would add. And I appreciate you, David. Good evening. Good evening to Harris, man. He's asking McNichols or Hunt full PPR. This one's not close for me. It's going to be Kareem Hunt. We did see him hop. I mean, he hopped Isaiah Pacheco last week, man. He didn't get the touchdown. Like Isaiah Pacheco caught a touchdown, but it's very clear to me that we're trending towards Kareem Hunt being the lead back in this offense. Let's go ahead and pull that up here. And I don't know if game script was just, the factor here, but let me zoom in. Last week, we see Kareem Hunt with 32 snaps. Pacheco gets 27. They both run 16 routes, but Hunt gets 13 carries. Pacheco gets 7. A 5.8 floor. I think to me, I'm going to take that with Kareem Hunt, and he's their goal line back too. So I'm going Kareem Hunt over McNichols. McNichols is purely, it's a weird three-way fiddle in Washington, and I don't really trust it. I do think that maybe Jaden Daniels ends up throwing to the running back more than Marcus Mariota has the last couple games. But I think for me, this is just a three-way committee that I don't feel great about. We saw 2 carries and a catch for McNichols. It's just a very low floor, and everyone's going to kind of remember that touchdown run he had a couple weeks ago. We have Evan Ingram and Turpin to drop. I think both names are fine to drop and move on. I'm assuming you have a better tight end than Evan Ingram, and you probably have more receiver depth there. So I think both guys could be upgraded. Like you could actually, I'm not opposed to going for Gainwell because week 6, we still don't know if Jalen Warren's going to be ready for week 6. I would assume he is. But for me, I think I would cash in both Ingram and Turpin and go get Miller and Gainwell here, David. Bond, Washington, or Slayton? It depends on kind of what you need. I think Isaiah Bond is an interesting guy. Cedric Tillman on IR, out for 4 games, maybe more. Bond stepped right into the number 2 role. He ended up with 6 targets, 3 receptions, but now we are going to get Dylan Gabriel throwing the ball. So I'm expecting less passing volume from this Browns offense, and it's going to be more erratic with the efficiency going from Flacco wasn't all that efficient to begin with, but we're going to lose some efficiency going to the rookie quarterback here. So I do think Bond is going to be out there for a lot of opportunity. We just don't know what to really expect. Not only is Bond a rookie with an unproven track, but we're going to Dylan Gabriel here, which makes me nervous. And I do like Isaiah Bond. He had some trouble in the pre-draft process. He's a little guy, 5'11", 180, speed guy. He could be a fun player, but I think he's going to be more boom bust for you. Malik Washington, on the other hand, he's a guy that I think is a good NFL player. He's not like an elite talent or anything, but he's a good NFL player. And we've seen him be successful in the NFL in spurts. It's his second year in the league. He caught 26 passes, 223 yards as a rookie, 1 rushing touchdown. And we're seeing him right now, get 2 to 3 catches per game, 1 to 2, 3 rushing attempts. That's fine. I don't know if I see a dependable opportunity here to start him. Sure, maybe, on a higher end, he gets these 4 or 5 catch games here where he's going to be about 10 yards per catch. But he's kind of like he's like a poorer version of Wan'Dale Robinson. So I'm not super excited here for Malik Washington. I think I'm probably just going to go with Darius Slayton, who is the big play. And I know Darius Slayton's a good receiver. We just need, we just need Jackson Dart to start hitting him deep on some targets. That's really all we need left. I'm going to go to Wan'Dale here, and then we'll go to Darius Slayton. And Slayton's going to be the number 1 in terms of snaps and routes, and he's been 7.4. So he's a big play guy. I think he's going to stay around this, 3-4 catches per game. He's the guy that I'm looking for of these 3. add Shaheed and Hollywood Brown, then it's not close. I'm going Rashid Shaheed for sure. I still think Hollywood Brown is a bit of a fake out. I'm not super excited to get Hollywood Brown because we have Rashee Rice back in 2 weeks. And right now, Hollywood Brown is behind Juju Smith-Schuster in terms of snaps and routes. We're going to see Rice and Worthy be the engine of this offense, and then Juju and Hollywood and Tyquan kind of rotate as number 3, 4, and 5. So I'm not interested in Hollywood Brown. Go and get Rashid Shaheed. He is a full-time starter, and he's got a high floor right now. He's been playing pretty well all year. I like what I've seen out of Rashid Shaheed. He caught 9.2 fantasy points. He got 2 rushing attempts. He's going to continue to get volume as the New Orleans Saints are just not winning games. Let me actually click on it. He's wide receiver 36 on the year in full PPR, and he's been 9, 15, 8, and 9. So Shaheed would be the easy answer for me here. Who's a running back for picking up to start? Oh, yikes. Well, there's not going to be one that we like. But I just want to bring it up again. I want to type in Trey Benson here because this is one that I'm watching pretty closely tomorrow. Here's Levitan. So Trey Benson got banged up late in Thursday's loss to Seattle, was not spotted at Monday's bonus practice. So for me, Amari DiMercato would remain the passing down back, and then I think Michael Carter would be the one. And it's only Tuesday here. If Benson practices tomorrow and everything's back on track, that's fine. But I want everyone to be aware that maybe if Benson misses practice, we should look up Michael Carter tomorrow. So I'm just looking at, this is one of my deep leagues here, and this is who's available at running back. Isaiah Davis might be a guy. He's a pass catching back. Braylon Allen's out. We're probably going to see 3 to 5 carries from Isaiah Davis, and he is the third down pass catching back. So maybe he's interesting in that game. I think Amari DiMercato is probably not a good play against Tennessee just because we expect them to be winning. So you're only going to get third down and long, and then you're going to maybe get a 2-minute drill in the end of the first half. Otherwise, there's not a lot that I like available here. Let me go to just filter all, and we'll kind of scroll on down here. Other guys that might be available here, maybe Rico Dowdle is worth picking up here against Miami. You know, Rashad White would, if there's a chance Rashad White's available, he's easy to start. Kareem Hunt, a start. Blake Corum, Kendry Miller would be startable for me. So those are some names there that I like, but we're definitely watching this Trey Benson stuff tomorrow. I'm going to cover some of the player news that went on today, and then continue to get your questions in, guys. I will be live tomorrow evening on Wednesday, 7 o'clock Central Time. If you guys want to hang out, we'll go over our start sits. The big one was Brock Purdy, Juwan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall not practicing today. I think the Rams are licking their chops at this one. They're coming in riding high off that big win against the Colts. It's in LA. Purdy, Juwan, and Ricky banged up. And for a Thursday night game, Tuesday is the practice that matters quite a bit. So the fact that they're not out there is concerning. Tomorrow's going to be more of a walkthrough, but they're also probably flying out to LA maybe tomorrow night. So we'll see. 49ers reports tomorrow will be interesting. Dillon Gabriel officially named the Browns starter. This is just cruel. Like, they're going to get the Browns are going to go to London and get Minnesota, which is one of the best defenses in the league. And then they're going to go against Pittsburgh next week. I probably would have let Flacco take a couple more lumps, but I get it. They're going to be on the national spotlight on London game. We'll see what Dillon Gabriel can do. There's the Cedric Tillman IR news. Braylon Allen likely headed to IR. So I do like Isaiah Davis here, and I do have him listed at the end of my favorite ads. I'll leave that up here for another second just in case you guys want to look at it. But it's not a great waiver wire by any means because I'm assuming you guys play in competitive leagues, and Woody Marks was probably gone. Rashad White would be the one that I think might be available in some leagues right now. But for the most part, the waiver wire is pretty chopped. Maybe one of the Giants receivers is what you're looking for. We'll go back to the news here. Lamar Jackson, unlikely to play in week 5, could miss 2 to 3 weeks. If you play in super flex leagues, Cooper Rush is interesting, but we should probably talk about the Ravens, because what do we do with the Ravens? They're going to get the Texans at home. You're going to continue to start Derrick Henry. I think you're going to continue to start Zay Flowers, but he's now a wide receiver 3 flex. And then Mark Andrews is a true toss-up unless you have a better option behind him. But that's really it. I'm not really looking at anywhere else from Baltimore. This one's interesting from a dynasty perspective. Gunnar Helm expected to get more opportunities. He has looked good. I noticed him making plays in Tennessee. I think they're going to continue to get him involved and maybe lean more towards a 2 tight end base offense to help Cam Ward out and get both Okonkwo and Gunnar Helm on the field together. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let me just pull up the week 4 notes from Tennessee. And yeah, Okonkwo ran 21 of 32 routes. Gunnar Helm ran 11 of 32. But over the last few weeks, Helm has continued to make a play or 2 per game. So if you need someone in Dynasty, Gunnar Helm could be a fun ad. I do think Kirk Cousins will be traded sometime here in October. Just don't know where yet. Maybe it's probably not the Saints. It's probably a better team. Maybe it's the Bengals. I don't see the Bengals being successful with Kirk Cousins because they have no way to protect him and Kirk Cousins can't move. So we'll see what happens there with Kirk Cousins, but I do think he's going to get moved pretty soon. What else we got here for news? Yeah, I think that's pretty much all caught up. Let's take a peek here again at the waiver wire for you guys. If Romeo Doubs is out there, he's very clearly Jordan Love's go-to target, especially near the red zone. Him and Kraft are his bread and butter right now. And just big plays seem to happen for Romeo Doubs. So it's Doubs, it's the Giants receivers that I want. I am open, if you play in deeper leagues, Isaiah Bond, Malik Washington, these are guys worth putting on the end of your bench to see what happens. If you need a tight end, if you have a tight end on bye, like Tucker Kraft's on bye, we got TJ Hawkinson. No, TJ Hawkinson's not on bye yet, but Kraft and Kyle Pitts are on bye for sure. There might be another name or two there. But if you need a tight end, Brenton Strange looks pretty good for me. What else do we got here for you guys? I did do some updates to the website. If you guys want to check it out, I did update my Survivor Pool article already for the week here. If you guys are playing in Survivor Pick'ems, the spreads look pretty good. Detroit at Cincinnati, that's one of the easiest picks. Detroit winning against the Bengals if you haven't used Detroit yet. I do think, though, this is a good week to be strategic and maybe use the Cardinals at home against Tennessee after a tough loss to Seattle. I do think Arizona will be fine. Buffalo against New England, I don't really trust it. The Bills have not looked good the last 2 games here. The Saints gave them a run, as did the Dolphins. I think the Bills, I'm probably taking the Patriots to cover that 7.5 right now. The Colts at home against the Raiders does look pretty good. Those would be the 4 teams that I'm really liking here. I thought I updated this, but the Ravens game switched. The Texans are now favored on the road in Baltimore. And then I do think Minnesota against Cleveland, the rookie quarterback, I do have to update that spread probably. That's probably a pretty easy one. And then right now I'm really thinking the Rams at home, short week against the 49ers. That might be an easy way to get a W and get the Rams out of the way. What else do we got to look at here? Fantasy points allowed, man. And I just want to, anything under the content tab is free on the fantasyfellowship.com. You guys can check this stuff out for yourself. Yeah, I do think you can drop Mooney, Harris. If I can get Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Romeo Doubs, Jalen Coker, definitely interested in those guys over Mooney. I might even go after Isaiah Bond over Darnell Mooney right now. I do think Mooney could be moved on from. He had the shoulder thing to start the training camp, and now he's got a hamstring. I think it does clearly look like he is the 4th guy after, Bijan, London, and Pitts. He is going to be very hard to trust on a week-to-week basis, so I think I'd rather let somebody else deal with that. But the fantasy points per game matchups this week, let's see who's sticking out here. Let me just do some zoom in here for us. It's not liking that. Alrighty. So at the top of the tab here, Dallas is allowing the most fantasy points per game. They're pretty bad against everything. They do limit tight ends a little bit, but you're going to start Justin Fields. You're going to start Breece Hall. You're going to start Garrett Wilson. And then I do think we didn't talk about Mason Taylor at tight end, but he did look pretty good last night. If you need a tight end for this week, I think Mason Taylor is a guy that has looked good the last 2 games. The Ravens defense, terrible. I think it's a big Nico Collins day. Woody Marks, the Ravens allowing the most fantasy points per game to the running back position. Maybe Woody Marks and the Texans go in there and steal a victory. The Bengals are going to get just launched. They're going to get destroyed by the Lions. So start your Lions. That means David Montgomery, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta. Keep those guys in your lineup. The Steelers and Bears, we cannot pick on them this week. So we'll look at the New York Giants as a potential New Orleans Saints game. Kamara, Olave, Shaheed, Jawan. We'll see what they can do against the Giants. The Miami Dolphins are going to get the Carolina Panthers, but I just think that only means Chuba and Tet McMillan. The Saints, we're going to see Tyler Shuck soon at some point. So we'll see there. The Titans giving up a lot of points. Yeah, you're going to play Marvin. You're going to play Trey Benson if he's healthy. Trey McBride, obviously. And then I do think Kyler Murray looks like a good bet this week as well. So check out fantasy points allowed. You guys can see all that there. And then I do have it, individually by position here. I got a tractor going on outside here. Let me close the window real quick. Alrighty. So yeah, week 5, man, I'm excited for it. We finally are entering the buys. So make sure you guys have your bases covered. It's always a good idea to look ahead a week as well, just, in case you need to be ahead on a position, whether you're looking at matchups, for quarterback or tight end or whatever. It's always good to look ahead and make sure you got your bases covered. What else we got to look at tonight? I've been updating this receiving stat leaders tab, which has been fun for me. I've been learning some cool things here, and these are charts you guys can look at for free as well. These are the leaders in running backs right now, which you guys can go and download. Christian McCaffrey has the most receiving points for a running back. He's got 300 yards. He's got 31 catches, just by far the clear leader in terms of receiving points. And he's averaging, 29% targets per route run, running the most routes. Like he's basically a wide receiver 1 right now with some rushing upside. This is basically McCaffrey's volume. And then Bijan's just been getting so many opportunities as a receiver too. But there's some good stuff on here if you guys want to check out the receivers. I wish Dylan Sampson would get back involved in the Browns offense. We'll see about that. But the receiver stuff, I mean, just Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith and the Jigba right now are just playing absolutely unbelievable football. They are the leaders in targets per route run and yards per route run. We got to get Jackson Smith and the Jigba running more routes. Really hasn't run a lot of routes this year in that Seattle offense. They did blow out the Saints a week ago, so maybe that had something to do with it. But how about Quentin Johnston? Can we just have a moment for Quentin Johnston? He is a guy that took some time. Year 3, he is truly breaking out right now. He is looking fantastic. He's got a ton of yards, a ton of catches, and he's beating good corners. I think Quentin Johnston, if we look at, I'll show you guys one of the nuggets here. I have my rest of season rankings updated. Quentin Johnston, I had to move him up pretty high. Like I think we're there with Quentin Johnston. I don't see this slowing down. I have him at wide receiver 17 right now, next to Devontae Adams and Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. He's an every week starter in fantasy football. I don't want to get any Quentin Johnston questions this weekend against the Commanders. He's ahead of Ladd McConkey right now. So that's where we're at with Quentin Johnston. And again, you guys can check out the rest of season rankings at thefantasyfellowship.com. They're available under the members tab. But hey, if I don't have any more questions, I'm going to get out of here for the evening. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll go live again tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll go live. And then Thursday night, we'll go live as well. And then I just want to foreshadow next weekend or next week, it's going to be a weird week. I'm going to be out of the country for most of week 6. I'll be out of the country for pretty much all of week 7. So we'll talk about that later. But for now, get everything you need at thefantasyfellowship.com. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Tuesday evening. Good luck with your waivers. You guys can always reach out to me on X, email me, whatever you need. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Good luck with your waivers. Peace.